And so the unfortunate reality of being a highly empathetic person is that narcissists are drawn to you. Narcissist, that's what we call someone who wants your love, but they have no real intention of loving you back. A narcissist is someone who wants everything to be about them. They want your love, your healing, your help, but they have no intention of reciprocity. But you can say no more, because your empathy and your eagerness to love really is your superpower, but it needs to be balanced by a healthy dose of self-respect that says you don't have to put up with someone who's not eager to return your empathy. You can care deeply about someone, you can want the best for them, you can genuinely want to help them. But if they can't help themselves, and if they can't love you back, then there's nothing wrong with refusing to be drawn into the dependency your empathy so naturally craves. You can be a kind, empathetic, loving person and still say no. So let's talk about narcissists. This is the term that's thrown around a lot. I see it a lot online, and frankly, I don't know if it's always the right word to use to describe someone. So first, let's take a look at you. Let's take a look at you as a highly empathetic person. And I'll ask you this. Do you feel what other people are feeling and then you tend to internalize it? Do you feel highly in tune with other people's feelings and their energy? Do you see the best in other people quickly because that's what you want to see? And finally, do you find yourself wanting to help and heal those around you? Being a highly empathetic person really is an amazing trait, but it can be a challenge in dating because when you so easily internalize other people's feelings, it becomes all too easy to then neglect your own. And if you're not careful, you can lose yourself in the process. And sometimes that becomes a pattern, and that's where narcissists enter the picture. Because if you're so easily able to internalize other people's issues, and you're then willing to deprioritize yourself to help them, you attract people who want that. You attract people who want to be saved, helped, made all about them, and nothing more. They need that. They need everything to be about them. They're interested in themselves and not much else. They want to receive your love, your compassion, your help, your healing, but they don't really have anything to give in return, and they don't really have any intention to give anything in return. And I think it should go without saying, now that I say that and describe someone in that way, it's pretty obvious. You don't deserve that. You deserve better than that. But someone who's highly empathetic, it's really easy to overlook that fact. So let's recognize this. Let's recognize that it is great to date someone who needs help in their life just like you do. It's great to date someone who wants to grow in their life just like you do. But if you're not careful, you can start to attract people who crave that, but they have nothing to give in return. But the problem is, as someone who deeply feels, you want to help that person. You want to help them. You want to help them grow. You want to help them change. And that's exactly what they want. They want you to help them. They want you to stay conditioned in that way. And so through no fault of your own, just because you're highly empathetic, those types of people are naturally drawn to you. And if you stay in those situations, in the process, if you're not careful, you can really lose yourself. You can start developing this mentality where you blame yourself because you might try to break away, but you start to think that any inclination you have to refocus onto you is selfish. You start to think that your feelings really don't matter that much because focusing on you would mean abandoning your partner. And you deserve so much better than a relationship that is like that. The world needs people like you. That is, people who are selfless, people who know what they bring to the table, but then are just as eager to give it away to other people. The world needs that. But you never deserve to be taken advantage of by someone who offers nothing in return. So it begs the question, how do you counter narcissists in dating? That is, people who want to take advantage of your amazing empathy. And the answer is balance. You need to balance your heart with a healthy dose of self-respect. That's a healthy dose of self-respect that says you could be a loving, empathetic person and still say no. It says you don't have to put up with someone who wants everything to be about them and has no intention of ever making it about you. You don't have to put up with someone who only wants to be loved. and doesn't ever want to love in return. You don't have to put up with someone who never commits, with someone who is hot and cold, who plays emotional games with you because they know they can, because they know you care. Use your empathy in your life. It's a gift. Help others change, help others heal, but learn to spot the difference between someone who wants to change and someone who does not. You can't fix someone who doesn't want to fix themselves. You can't be responsible for their life. It's their responsibility to learn, to grow, and to love. And that responsibility, their responsibility, can't become yours. But of course, the reality of life is that some people would love to make it your responsibility. Some people aren't ready to own their own BS, and they would just love to give it all to you for as long as they can get away with it. And you, as an empathetic person, need to learn to spot those kinds of people. Ask yourself, do they believe in their ability to change? Do they actively want to change and give back? Ask yourself, if nothing were to change and you were to stop burdening yourself with their responsibility, what would happen? What would happen if all of a sudden you simply replaced your inclination to feel with an inclination to just observe instead? Just because you can feel what they're feeling, just because you're wired to want to help, it doesn't mean you're responsible for them. You can care deeply about someone, you could genuinely want the best for them, you can want to help them, but if they can't help themselves, and if they can't love you back, you need to learn to not get drawn into the dependency your empathy so naturally and deeply craves. Realize that attachment is not necessarily love. Balance your default to attachment with a BS meter. That's a BS meter that asks yourself, is this person actually here for me? Are they showing up for me? Are they being honest and genuine with me? Are they as attached as I am? Do they see in me what I see in them? When you realize your attachment might not be love, you can realize what is yours and what is theirs. What is yours and what is theirs? What feelings are true to you? And which are theirs that have become yours? Ask yourself, stay connected to your feelings while also practicing your empathy. That is balance.